Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. Breaking news, Everton have confirmed the signing of Scottish right back Nathan Patterson from Glasgow Rangers on a 5.5-year deal. The club have announced the deal as for an undisclosed fee. However, reports over the internet are suggesting that it is for around about £11 million up front and then add-ons potentially taking it up to around 16-17 million pound. The 20-year-old Scottish right back who Everton of course targeted in the summer, however unfortunately weren't able to get the deal over the line, has finally completed his medical, all of his paperwork, signed his personal terms and is officially an Everton player. Patterson will wear the number 3 shirt for Everton, of course, famously worn most recently by Leighton Baines, and will join up with the squad immediately, and hopefully we'll get to see him in action over the next couple of weeks or so. I'm not quite sure when that will be, not quite sure whether or not he'll be eligible to play on Saturday against Hull in the Cup. However, I'm sure we'll see him sooner rather than later, and it's another really impressive bit of business by Everton Football Club. I've sat here on a number of occasions over the last, 3-4 years of doing this channel and criticised Everton Football Club for numerous different things and the way in which this football club is ran numerous different times, but you've got to give credit where credit is due, and, considering we're only on the 4th of January and the transfer window has only been open a matter of days, to say that we've managed to go out there and bring in 2 young fullbacks, athletic fullbacks who like to get forward, who like to put a tackle in, who like to, create chances up the other end, but also understand their defensive responsibilities, is something that I believe the club has to be praised for. I really do. Obviously, we spoke yesterday about Vitaly Mykolenko coming into the football club and the positives that can have, albeit, we understand the Luka Dean situation and everybody's feelings on that, but just talking about Vitaly Mykolenko as a player, 22 years old, looked really impressive in the Ukrainian league, looked really impressive in the Euros for Ukraine as well. And for the money that we're spending on him, for a player that could be our number 1 left back for the next 5, 6, 7 years, I thought that was a really positive transfer. And very similarly with Nathan Patterson, this move seems to have been done really quickly, which is unusual for Everton really. Typically when Everton are linked with a player, it's about a 6-week process from first initially being linked to actually getting the deal done and getting it announced, whereas the Nathan Patterson stuff has moved really quickly. I know we were interested in the summer, and that interest has remained throughout the last couple of months or so that makes it much easier. And I know our financial situation has become a little bit less sort of tight, if you'd say that, over the last couple of months as well, so that has made the deal easier. But it was only rumoured 48 hours, 72 hours ago that Everton would add up the talks for Nathan Patterson and we're close to completing a deal, and we're sitting here a day or so later and he's been announced as an Everton player. So Everton have been very proactive with their transfer business so far this January. We've finally signed a right back, which is the biggest bit of news, isn't it really, for this video. We've finally signed a successor to Coleman, albeit Nathan Patterson is still very young, 20 years old, coming over from the Scottish Premier League, of course. Hasn't played an awful lot of football for Rangers, it has to be said. Reasons being, Rangers have got, Tavernier as their number 1 right back, and he is very much a key player in that Rangers system. So, seen a lot of people saying, we're paying, 16-17 million pounds for Rangers as backup right back. Well, the reality of the situation is Nathan Patterson is very highly spoken of over in Scotland and over in Rangers, and there's a lot of Rangers fans that will be disappointed to see him moving to Everton. However, the reason he hasn't started a lot of football for Rangers, I think he's made 8 appearances, and only 2 of them have been starts. The reason for that being because, they've got Tavernier at right back, who's such a pivotal member of their side. But that doesn't mean that Nathan Patterson isn't a highly thought of young prospect. And, he's clearly a player with big ambitions who wants to test himself, wants to go and play consistent first team football, and is hoping to do that at Everton. He has had his first interview with EvertonFC.com, of course, as every player does when they sign. He has said, "I'm over the moon to sign for Everton and looking forward to getting started. It was an easy choice to sign. This is a massive club with huge history and the fan base is tremendous." He said, "Obviously we aren't in the place where we want to be right now, but we can definitely get there with the talent in the changing room and staff here. I have full belief we can do that." He said, it is really exciting to come to a club that has huge talent in the team. I am going to work my socks off and hopefully I can do well with them in training and in games. It was also great for me knowing the manager really wanted me, and that made my decision. When a club really wants you, it makes your mind up early on. He said, I wanted to come here from the very start. I'm delighted to be here and really looking forward to playing in front of the fans at Goodison. Long term, I want to nail down a starting position and win some trophies to make the fans proud. He was asked what he brings to the team, what he can bring to Everton Football Club, what fans can be excited about seeing. He said athleticism, desire and strong challenges. He said that with a little bit of a smile on his face, along with good forward play. I am an attacking fullback. I love getting forward and creating chances to benefit the team. I can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to working under the manager and with my teammates. I have met most of them already and everybody has made me feel so welcome. I've had a good conversation with Seamus. I'm really looking forward to learning from him and working together. That is why I am here, to learn and to get better as a player and hopefully win things and do well for the club. If I am working alongside Seamus, that is definitely going to happen. So very, very positive words about Everton captain Seamus Coleman there, of course, which is, listen, great to see and great to hear. You know, you want your new signings to come in and, you know, talk positively of the players that are here. I know a lot of Blues might have had a little bit of a chuckle there with Nathan Patterson coming out and saying there's a lot of quality in this team, but ultimately it shows the respect level that he has for his teammates and the respect level that he has for the club and his desire and his commitment. As I said, you know, I don't think there would have been any doubt in many Rangers fans' minds that Nathan Patterson over the next couple of years or so would have worked his way up to becoming Rangers' number one right back. As I said, they've got a really, really good player there, you know, in Tavernier, who starts every week, but as a young, you know, sort of homegrown talent, I think Nathan Patterson would have definitely been knocking on the door over the next couple of years or so, but he hasn't wanted to wait, he hasn't wanted to stall his career, he hasn't wanted to sit around and waiting for an opportunity that may or may not come. He's wanted to go and test himself and he's wanted to prove himself in what is, you know, a much more difficult league than the SPL, and let's hope that his talent can shine through. One thing I would say is that I feel like we're going to have to be very patient with Nathan Patterson. As I said, he hasn't played an awful lot of football whatsoever for Rangers. He's had a couple of appearances and he's done well in those games, and he's had a couple of appearances for the national team as well and done well there, but you know, when you're looking at Dayton and when you're looking at his performances, if you're not a Rangers fan or a diehard Scottish, you know, international football fan, you probably don't know an awful lot about Nathan Patterson and haven't watched him an awful lot, because there's just not an awful lot of football out there of Nathan Patterson's to watch, certainly not at a sort of professional level without going into the academy and looking at some of his performances for the you know, for the Rangers Academy, etc. So we are going to have to be patient with him as a fan base. You know, I don't expect him to turn up in a couple of weeks and be the best right back in the Premier League. I don't expect him to turn up and be absolutely unbelievable. What I do expect is to see that desire, that commitment, that athleticism that he's talking about. I expect to see a very forward-thinking fullback, but a fullback that will also make mistakes, and a fullback that will also have to ultimately bear with and give time to settle into the Premier League. It's a massive, massive jump from the Scottish Premier League to obviously the English Premier League, the level in quality of the players that he's going to be coming up against, the level of the defenders that he's going to have to beat going down the line, and also the level of, you know, forward players that he's going to have to defend against will go up dramatically as well. And Nathan Patterson, much like Vitaly Mykolenko, has spoken about his, you know, understanding of his defensive role as well. Whilst, you know, both players talk about the modern day fullback, if you like, and getting forward and creating chances and using that athleticism and you know, trying to be involved at the, you know, the top end of the pitch, also understanding that first and foremost their responsibilities are to be a defender and to be able to do the defensive duties as well, and it's going to be difficult for Nathan Patterson, as it will be for Vitaly Mykolenko. Again, only 22 years old, very similar situation, coming over from Ukraine, of course. You know, same with Nathan Patterson. It'll be I fear there'll be, well, don't fear, because, you know, again, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I think there'll be a settling in period where, you know, we've got to be a little bit patient with him. He probably will make mistakes. There probably will be situations where you're shaking your head and thinking you've got to do better there, but that's all part of the learning process. As I said, Nathan Patterson hasn't played an awful lot of professional football in his career. He still is only 20 years old. He's got all the attributes to potentially go on to be one of the best right backs in the league, but there's a lot of learning that will go into place before he gets anywhere near that level. So we have got to be patient with him. As I said, don't expect him to turn up and be unbelievable from day one. I remember Seamus Coleman coming to Everton Football Club for £60,000 from Shamrock Rovers, and I remember his debut against Benfica, I think it was, and he was absolutely atrocious. He had to go out on loan to Blackpool, and I'm not saying that that'll be the same for Nathan Patterson, but my point is, when Seamus first come into the football club, he was a long, long way away from being a Premier League right back, and a bit of persistency and a bit of time and a bit of patience, and a few years later he was starting week in, week out for Everton, and fast forward 10 years, he's still our number one right back at the moment. And yes, we know we've needed to replace Seamus Coleman for the last couple of years or so, but he has had a really, really good spell as number one right back. So I think patience is big with Nathan Patterson, but he has got all of the attributes to be, a really, really top quality right back. He speaks there about his desire, his commitment, loves a tackle, and that's something that obviously will will work in his favour. At Goodison Park, that's something that will work in his favour amongst Evertonians as well. If he's going to throw the challenges in, if he's going to get involved in people's faces, if he's going to throw himself about, if he's going to play a little bit like a certain other Scottish fullback who plays in Merseyside, who is the captain of the national team that Nathan Patterson has been a part of for the last couple of months or so, then I'll be absolutely more than happy, because as much as I hate said other fullback, I think his personality trait and the way he plays football is something that I would love at Everton. So if Nathan Patterson can bring that little bit of grit, little bit of desire, not afraid to get in people's faces or throw a tackle in, but also will be able to provide something positive going forward, then I think we've got a really, really solid player here for the future. Let's have a little bit of a look at some of his stats then. So he is 20 years old. He's a right back. Get him. Finally signed a right back. 26 games for Rangers. So as I said, not a massive sample size whatsoever when looking at his performances and his stats. 6 international caps for Scotland, and he has scored 2 career goals. Actually scored a goal in the qualifiers, I believe. For Scotland, really, really sort of Seamus Coleman-esque finish, cutting him from the right hand side onto his left foot and putting it into the bottom corner with his left foot, which was a really, really nice goal as well. So hopefully we can see a lot more of that from Nathan Patterson in an Everton shirt, and hopefully, as I said, it doesn't take him too long to settle in, it doesn't take him too long to acclimatise to the Premier League. But I do feel like we will have to be patient with him, and I do feel like we'll have to bear with him if he makes mistakes, or if he doesn't quite settle in as quickly as maybe we would like. However, in terms of his potential, his attributes, his physicality, his athleticism, still only 20 years old, not afraid to get forward, has proven he can score goals, has proven he can put balls into the box, and create chances, and has also proven that he can defend as well. I think we've got a really, really top player for the very, very future, and £60 million could end up being an absolute steal. As I said, Nathan Patterson has signed for Everton Football Club on a 5.5-year deal until the summer of 2027. He will wear the number 3 shirt, and it is for an undisclosed fee, but rumours in the newspaper are that it is around £11 million up front with add-ons. I'm sure those add-ons will include something like, appearances and maybe goals or something like that. So we'll wait and see if it does rise to the full £60 million. But even £60 million for a 20-year-old right back, who I suppose the idea is he will become the Everton's new right back for the very foreseeable future, maybe even the next 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 years to replace Seamus Coleman. I think it could work out to be a really, really good bit of business, especially considering, listen, we've all sat here for months and months and months and moaned about needing a right back, moaned about wanting Everton to go out and fill that position being number one priority. We spoke a couple of weeks ago when the Nathan Patterson stuff was quiet about, and the Mikalenko stuff was in the news, that why are we targeting a left back when we still need a right back? Now, some people would say, yeah, but I'd have preferred Max Aarons, or I'd have preferred this player, that player, this player. I think in regards to the deal and what we're getting, I think Nathan Patterson is a fantastic young talent, and certainly somebody that will want to snatch this opportunity with both hands and want to prove to, Everton Football Club and Evertonians that he is good enough to be our number one right back going forward. So really, really exciting stuff. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Are you happy with the signing of Nathan Patterson? If you have watched him at Rangers. You might be a Rangers fan watching this, you might be a Scottish football fan. Let us know your thoughts on Nathan Patterson. If you've never seen him kick a ball before and you're just excited that Everton have signed a right back, let us know in the comments as well. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. That would be an absolutely fantastic and would mean a massive amount to me. This signing does mean that, you know, in the very near future, we could spell the end of Seamus Coleman's time as a frequent Everton starter, but we'll get to that when it comes to it, and we'll get to that when Nathan Patterson's playing week in, week out, and we'll do a little live stream talking about Seamus Coleman and exactly, you know, what he means to Everton Football Club. But until then, really good signing. Nathan Patterson has signed for Everton Football Club on a 5.5-year deal. He will wear the number 3 shirt, of course, most recently worn by Leighton Baines, and the rumours are it's around £11 million up front, with add-ons potentially taking it up to about £16-17 million. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this one, please do leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new as well. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.